Hi folks, welcome to another edition of An Hour with Bob. If you've watched my show any number of years, we've been on 32 years. May 29th, by the way, is my 32nd complete year. Starting the 33rd year would be May 30th of 2024, would be the beginning of my 33rd year, if I make it. Anyway, with me today is an old friend. He's been on the show over the years a number of times. Only he can tell you how many. And he's back again. Terry Gorman, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Bob. Nice to be back.
Nice to see you. Yeah. Nice to see those old guys are still here.
I know, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, we go back longer than you've been on the show.
Yeah. And I still remember how we actually met. Do you remember how we met?
Yeah, I remember well that we used to tip a few at Kelly's Tap.
Kelly's Tap.
And I had a fire in my house, and you put me in connection with a contractor that rebuilt my whole house and saved me $11,000.
Really? Yeah.
In the process.
Well, I remember you had a contractor that stiffed you or
did.
something, right?
Yep. And I had trouble with the first contractor, and you got me in touch with this guy. And
Mike Katoya was his name.
Yeah, yep, Mike Katoya.
I can't believe I remember that.
Yeah,
I don't remember what I had for breakfast, but I remember Mike Katoya. From how long ago was that?
That's
35, anyway, 40 years ago?
How many?
40?
50.
Really?
1973.
Holy, wow.
Yeah, 1973. And I'm still in the same house.
Yeah, huh? Oh, I see it every time I go up that Cobble Hill. I see it. That comes to mind.
Yep. Still in the same house. So, still with the same woman. I don't know how she puts up with me.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wasn't that lucky.
Yeah. We'll be married 61 years this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what's the secret?
Know when to shut up.
Every guy says that. Why is it that the guy always has to shut up?
I don't know, but that's definitely the case.
But every time I've asked that question, and you see it on TV, you hear it on the radio, when somebody says to a couple that's married a long time, and they'll ask the guy, what's the secret to it? Yeah. Knowing when to shut up, or knowing when to give in, right? Yeah. Or not to argue with her.
Yeah.
But it's never the woman that says, well, knowing when to shut up, because if they did, all hell would break loose, right?
Yeah. Well, most of them are angels in disguise anyway, so you know.
Oh, I think the opposite. That's why I'm not married. Although I did try it for 18 years. I was there for a while.
Yeah. So, but we have 5 kids, and they're all doing well for themselves.
Yep.
Thank God. So.
How old's your oldest?
The oldest is going to be 60.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
And the youngest? 48.
I think. 48.
Yeah.
Because 49. The other one, the next one is 50. So we had 2 children a year apart, the first 2, and then we had a hiatus for
for 7 years, 8 years,
4 years.
Oh, 4 years.
And then she was pregnant for 3 years after that.
Oh, wow.
3 in a row.
3 in a row.
Yep. Yeah. So they're all doing well. Thank God for that part. And we have 8 grandchildren, 4 great-grandchildren.
Wow.
Yep. 3 great-grandsons and 1 great-granddaughter. She's the newest one is a granddaughter. So, yeah.
And how old's your oldest grandchild?
I have to stop and think which one's the oldest. Oh, he's got to be 40.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But
wow.
Maybe not 40.
Close though.
The one just under him, I have to stop and think and put it together. But he was 18. He's been in the military for 18 years, so he's 36.
That's 36.
So the next guy is like 2 years older than him. So
38.
38. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So you got a legacy anyway.
Oh yeah.
You got a good legacy.
Yeah. But none of them are named Gorman.
No.
No.
They got the memo, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. But yeah, my oldest son, he had a daughter, and then the youngest son is still single.
Yep.
He's probably the smartest one of all.
Well, it is till you get older. Then
Yeah.
then you kind of wish you had one, you know.
Yeah.
I almost wish I had a wife. Almost.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know how I could be. I must be tough to live with, I guess. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. I couldn't handle that, I don't think.
No. Yeah. No. Oh no. So it's like my youngest son. You know, he's quite set in his ways. I don't know how he'll ever. I can't imagine him agreeing to marry anybody.
Right.
I don't care who it is. But you know, what are you going to do? That's the life they chose. What you know?
Yeah, everybody's different.
Yep. Exactly.
Now you're still the organization.
Yep. We still have the Rhode Islanders for Immigration Law Enforcement.
Law enforcement.
And
Now, how long you been doing that?
since 2006.
Wow.
Yep. Yep. And I hate to say this. I hate to say it out loud. I'm not making an announcement, but it's really close to just throwing in the towel.
Right.
It's,
I can understand that,
yeah,
especially with this administration
yeah.
right now.
It's really too bad. And you know, here in Rhode Island, there's so many things. I mean, I could go on for a week talking about the abuses just here in Rhode Island.
Right.
But I'll give you one example. From 2019 to 2020 school year to 2021-2022 school year, we added 4,000, I can't remember the exact number, 4,000 and some,
Kids.
4,244 new non-English speaking students to our schools. 4,244. That's 142, 160, 44. It's 1,061 students per year,
Right.
non-English speaking students. In the
Which
school,
requires, now they
Oh.
got to have special,
extra education. I think they spend an average of $18,000 a year on students. They say up maybe 20,000, but it's like 23,000 to
For special
educate
needs.
for the kids with the
Right.
ELL.
right.
But in 2022, 2023, according to the Rhode Island Department of Education,
Right.
we had 3,525 new non-English speaking students. To me, it's a direct correlation to the border,
Right.
because this is the last year and a half is when all of this really blossomed
Right.
down at the border.
Was how many has been? Oh, by the way, I got some clips I'm going to interject into the
Yep.
show later
Yep.
that shows them coming, the Venezuelans
Yep.
and the caravans coming up
Yep.
from Venezuela and
Yep.
from South America and
Yep.
Central America coming to the border.
Yep.
And your favorite guy there, what's his name? The guy, the border, the guy. that's-
Mayorkas?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He makes me want to vomit.
I can't believe he can say what he says. He says, this, "Oh, we got the border under control."
But-
How can you get the border under control when you're seeing thousands upon
The
thousands?
whole gang of them is lying. They're in denial. That's one of the biggest problems of all. About a year and a half ago, the Wall Street Journal had an article that stated 87% of the general public has no idea the severity of the problem on the border.
Right.
The media keeps it all silent. Those figures I just gave you, I've given those figures to everybody I could give them to.
Right.
Never been repeated ever since.
Now, why do you think Why do you think that is? That the media doesn't?
They
talk
don't
about it?
want anybody to know about it in Rhode Island. It's controlled from the Candyman down, meaning the governor down. And the governor, if anybody doesn't think he's part of the problem, during his campaign, he made a statement during his campaign that one of his administration's priorities was going to be to find jobs for our undocumented neighbors. In other words, he's going to find jobs for illegal aliens.
Right.
Now, that's the governor of the state of Rhode Island.
Right.
So how hard can you fight if it's coming down from the very highest
True.
position in the state of Rhode Island? I mean, and then when you go up there, because the General Assembly has become so progressive, it's almost a majority progressive now, you can't get anything done there either. They don't want to listen. They don't want to believe any of the things. You know, I have all these figures in my head that dispute half of the things that they tell you. You know, when they're talking about the driver's license, driver's permits for illegal aliens, they don't even know how many they're going to have to give out. But
Now, they're permits or licenses?
they're driver permits. It's different than a license, not the regular license. It's a different animal altogether.
So what does that allow them to do if you got a driver's permit?
Oh, it's the same as a driver's license, but they call it a permit to drive.
Well, when we got a permit as kids, you got a permit before you,
Before you, yeah.
you had to have
yeah.
somebody with you while you were driving under
That
the
would- you
permit,
would-
right?
Yep, you.
Is that the
that
same
was-
thing?
No. This in those days it was like driver's ed and
Right.
the whole 9 yards. But now that's the license to drive for the illegal aliens. Now there's regulations in there. They claim there could be thousands upon thousands of people apply for this. That would be a shame to condone illegal aliens getting that privilege. But they have to prove that they've paid taxes to the state of Rhode Island and
Right.
federal income tax over the course of the last year. Used to be 2 years, then they reduced it to 1 year.
1 year. So if you snuck in the country a year ago and you paid taxes for a year,
You can get one of those.
you can get a license
Yeah.
or a
And-
permit.
Yes. And there were, I forget exactly, but 7 or 8 years ago, there were 4,407 people that could prove that they were paying taxes.
Right.
Because they have what they call an individual tax identification number.
Right?
And that's almost like a social security number, only
Exactly.
it starts with 999, I think, is something like that. But there were only 4,407 of them
That have them.
that they
designation.
could prove that.
Right?
So they lie when they say all of these people need all of this. You know, there's thousands of people that drive back and forth to work every day. Well, why are we just out admitting that these people came into the country illegally? It's against the rules, against our laws, and we're going to give them whatever it is they want, basically. And education-wise and health-wise, and I brought a thing. I'll give you. I don't have a copy of this, but if just let me read this to
Go
you.
for it. Yeah.
It's on one paragraph, and the title is Providing Care and Services for Undocumented Immigrants. Information for
Now,
health
who's
care.
this? What
Rhode
paper?
Island Department of Health.
Okay.
Information for healthcare workers and staff members. Now,
That's a directive sent out
yes.
to all the
yep.
healthcare workers and staff members.
Updated in March of 2020. Currently, there are more than 11 million undocumented immigrants living in the United States. Undocumented immigrants are a uniquely vulnerable population who often face significant obstacles seeking access to health care and health insurance. Further, the fear of federal immigration enforcement action may lead some families to forego medical services.
Right.
This fact sheet aims to provide healthcare professionals with guidance and resources to provide safe, high-quality care and services for undocumented patients. So if they have directives out there like this,
Right.
how can we possibly fight against this anymore?
So what are they saying? Are they giving them free health care? Is that what that means?
Yes. Yep.
So they get free health care.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but it's called It's called uncompensated care.
Oh, I know what that means.
2012, the Rhode Island Hospital, Rhode Island Hospital requested $200 million in uncompensated care.
Right.
The state of Rhode Island paid them $138 million. And I can't find out exactly how much of that went to take care of illegal aliens.
Right.
But a substantial amount of money
Right.
went to illegal aliens. And if you go to the hospital, when you're done, you're stopped at the door.
Oh, no, you stop when you go in.
Yeah, but yeah.
If I go in, and I was going to say this, when I've gone into the hospital, and I did a few months ago, well, about a year ago now, I cut my finger. I went into the hospital. First of all, I had to wait like 4 hours. Yeah. Then I get there, and they want everything, Social Security, name, address, health care numbers, all that. I see people in there that do not speak a word of English, and they wheel them right in.
Yeah. And
the thing I didn't like about the thing is that I had to wait. I had to take my time. I'm bleeding out, and they're just walking through because they didn't have...
4 hours is a short period of time. Because
really?
People tell me the average is 6 hours wait now in hospitals in Rhode Island, in the emergency rooms in hospitals in Rhode Island.
Wow.
And, you know, when you're going, you don't get out the door of that hospital.
No.
Without
paying.
I
know. I had my knee replaced.
And all the illegal aliens just walk right out the door. Goodbye, Jose. Goodbye. And they know that those people aren't going to pay any money, and they chalk it up to uncompensated care. And it's a shame that it's like that. But where did we get to that point where all of this is just so easy for them? And I mean, if they're here illegally, that's what we started out. When we started our organization, all we asked for was to enforce the
existing rules,
immigration laws.
Right.
We weren't going after anybody. We didn't hate anybody or anything. We just wanted the immigration laws that were on the books enforced.
Right.
If just those laws were enforced, this wouldn't be anywhere near a problem that we have today with millions of people coming across the border. You know, and my point is with that, what I told you about the number of students. All of those students have parents.
Yeah.
When's the last time you saw a problem about illegal aliens in Rhode Island? We're surrounded by 3 states that have declared emergencies about the migrant problem, as they call it in Massachusetts, the migrant problem.
Well, only now, though. They were declared, Massachusetts was a sanctuary state.
Yep. But in Rhode Island, right in the middle of all of that,
right,
and Maine is another place where they're loaded with them, but we don't have a problem here. Well, if 3,525 students in 1 year were added to the Rhode Island school system, where are their parents? And admittedly, I have to say this, that I know that they're not all illegal alien children. Some of them could be children of refugees, and some of them could be children of legal immigrants. But the majority of them are children of illegal aliens. And they go right into school. When they get in school, most of them aren't immunized. And you and I pay to immunize them once they get in school. And now the governor just added, I don't know how much money to the multi-language learner budget.
Right.
I think it's like $15 million. I could be wrong with that, but I think it's like $15 million he added to the budget. I mean, how far can we go? And I have a sheet here. I'll give you a copy of this one. But this is from FAIR, Federation for Americans for Immigration Reform. Their estimates for 2023, 42,000 illegal aliens live in Rhode Island. I think that's low.
Now?
Now. I think it's like 65,000.
And we have 1 million people.
Yep. We wouldn't have 2 congressmen if it wasn't for illegal aliens.
Right. Well, there you go. That's the answer to your question right there.
Yep. We wouldn't have
It's votes. It's called votes.
Exactly. Exactly, because the census counts illegal aliens
right.
in the census. But there are roughly 15,000 U.S.-born children. U.S.-born children of illegal aliens. Illegal alien households add, excuse me, 17,063 students to local schools.
17,000?
17,000 to local schools. The average cost to Rhode Islanders is $5,487 per illegal alien. That's what we pay out of our pocket to support them.
Right.
It's $268 million for education, $25 million for police, legal, and corrections.
Now, how does that play into them? What do you mean? 25 million for police
That's
and corrections.
what the services that where they're arrested and what the police have to do.
Of just the illegals?
Yes.
What their
Yep.
cause has
Yes. Yep.
added to the?
Yes. That's police, legal, and corrections. And education, again, 268 million. And that amounts, it's a total of $312,700,000 a year in Rhode Island. It costs us to support illegal aliens. And that amounts to a burden of $733 per Rhode Island household.
So it costs every single person?
Household.
Every household?
Every household.
700?
Yep.
700 and some odd dollars?
$733 every single household. Now, to me, those are astronomical figures. Excuse me, when all this COVID money is totally gone, how are we going to support this? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, taxes is how they're
Yep.
going to support it. They're
And-
going to raise the taxes.
And they refuse to admit there's a problem. I mean, if you watch the news, now, people can say what they want about me, about how I feel, but if you watch the news and you watch the homeless, that's a big problem, the homeless.
Right, that's right.
A big problem.
Right?
I don't know what the solution to that problem is, but it's a big problem. But you look at the homeless, and you look around and see how many people that you would consider to be new immigrants to the country. You don't see any in the homeless camps. They're living somewhere.
Right.
The Catholic Diocese of Providence and Dorcas International and many, many other nonprofit organizations, to me, have lost their focus, and they're concentrating on taking care of these people that are here illegally.
Right.
Because
Well, some would say that. Yeah, they would say that it's true because that's how they get more money. They get more input, more capitalization, more money.
The Catholic Diocese of Providence and Dorcas International get paid by the federal government
Right.
to do this.
Right.
And, it's just, I don't know, I get so frustrated. I have all these facts and figures here. The denials, let me tell you this one. See if I can remember the figures. I sent the Freedom of Information Act request back in 2012,
Right.
or 2015. I wanted to know how many babies were born to undocumented women in the state of Rhode Island
Right.
in those years.
In the year of 2012 or a bunch of years?
From 2012 to 2015.
Right.
They sent me back, I have it right here, I don't know the exact numbers, but it was like 900 in one year, 400 in another year. And it's astronomical money when it comes to that, because at the time it cost $20,000 a year to deliver a baby. And
And that's just the delivery. That's not to raise them.
right, yeah. But these illegal alien pregnant women come here, they get free prenatal care, free childbirth,
Right.
free postnatal care, and 2 years free family planning. For an illegal alien woman that's coming here to have a baby, it's going to get 2 years free family planning. It doesn't even make sense that.
Well, wait
we
a minute.
think
Now
that's
that
okay.
now that child's a
U.S.
citizen.
Yeah, and
That's called an anchor baby, as you well
yes.
know.
And we're responsible for that child till they're 18 years old.
Yep.
So when those numbers get up into the thousands, how much money is that? You know, and it is in the thousands. But the reason I tell you those figures, I just submitted Freedom of Information Act request to the Rhode Island Department of Health, the Rhode Island Health and Human Services,
Right.
and I get answers back. I can show you. We don't keep track of that. We don't have
Really?
those numbers. Nobody's got those numbers. Now, if they had them in 2015,
Right.
and they spelled it all out, and I have several correspondences with the Rhode Island Department of Health and Health and Human Services Department, and they gave me those figures right off the bat within the related amount of time.
So after 2015, they stopped collecting the
Well,
figures?
I didn't check till 2023.
Right.
In 24, excuse me, they don't keep those figures. We don't have those figures. And I checked all the different departments. Nobody's got a handle on those figures. Now somebody's got a handle on those figures,
Right.
because Rhode Island Hospital or Women and Infants Hospital is going to submit a request for uncompensated care money.
Right. They
at
want to
the
get
end of the
paid. They want to
year.
get paid, yeah.
Yep. So how is it possible that they don't have those figures? And it's totally frustrating. It's like banging your head against the wall to get anything done. And the media knows about this, the governor knows about this, all the politicians know about this, and it's just a farce. It's terrible to think that we don't have any chance to make a difference anymore. Regardless of how loud we squawk,
Right.
it's going to be taken care of. And when it blows up, when it shows up, people are going to be up in arms when they find out how many illegal aliens are living here and being taken care of. And I don't know if it's as bad as it is in Boston, where they have to give them a hotel room,
Right.
3 meals a day.
Well,
you know.
they're thrown in there all at once. That's why.
Yeah.
Whereas they're coming in here in dribs and drobes.
Look at New York, and this is something that I would know touch your heart, is the veterans in New York were thrown out of hotels.
Right.
So they
In
could
favor of them.
replace them with migrants.
Right.
And they put, the migrants are in there, they get 3 meals a day, complete medical care, we clean the rooms, we feed them, they don't like the food, they throw the food away, so in New York, they give them a $1,000 voucher
I've heard
to
that.
buy food
Yep.
that they like. Now, tell me they're going to spend that $1,000 on food.
Right.
You know, that's probably going to be gone before the end of the month, you know, the $1,000, or maybe in 2 weeks. But the solution, because we're giving them free food, they don't like it, is to give them money to buy the food they like.
Oh, well, the answer to that is you got to get the chefs from Venezuela to come up with them to feed them, right?
Yeah. And now it's turning out, in New York, they have organized Venezuelan gangs that are breaking into places and everything and sending the money back to Venezuela. It's mind-boggling how big this problem is. And to say that we're sitting here in Rhode Island and none of this is happening in Rhode Island. Everything is all hunky-dory.
Right.
You know, it's no problem whatsoever. It's absolutely impossible for that to be true, that no problem in Rhode Island. It's impossible for that to be true. So I don't know. I just, it's beyond me. There's so many things that are going against the grain in Rhode Island. It's not just illegal immigration. It's a lot of different things. The schools, you know, they're closing down a school in Providence that deals mostly with, or 70%, I think, is Hispanic students that don't speak English in that 360 high
360,
school.
right, yeah.
and they're demonstrating because they don't want to close it down.
But wait a minute, they're going to still be in the same building, you know. They're just going to move them over
Yeah.
in the other building. In
Yeah.
the same building, it's connected.
Yep, yeah, but they don't. They feel as though the parents feel as though they won't get as good quality education in the other buildings, in the other school.
Right.
I mean,
Because it won't be all Hispanic, all in.
it won't be
In the-
won't be majority Hispanic
Right.
in the other schools.
It'll be integrated, more
Yeah,
integrated.
Yeah. But my solution to that, and I've had what's his name? Who was the mayor before Elorza? But Elorza and I can't think of his name now in Providence.
Tavares?
Yeah, Tavares. My suggestion, and it still goes today, this suggestion, if they want to solve this problem with all this ELL and putting all this money into it, what should happen is mandatory.
I knew you were going to say, let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
I've been saying this for years. You want to come in here, you want to learn the language first. It should be mandatory, they have to learn English.
Yes.
Right? Or is that what you're going to say?
Yep. Full immersion, 1 full year
Yep.
of immersion in the English language.
Correct.
I call it a win-win situation.
Yes.
The illegal alien parents
Right.
would be thrilled that their kids were going to be speaking English in
Right.
a year.
And they'll learn from their
And
kids.
they can do that. The American parents would be thrilled because once those kids had the language and they matriculated into the regular classroom, they wouldn't be holding back
Dragging the
classroom.
kids down. I have said that when
Slow it down like that.
I go back to when I was in St. Mary's Junior High School.
Yeah.
And they brought a girl in from, I don't know what country she was from, but it was Spanish speaking. And we're in an algebra class. Now, algebra is not an easy,
Right.
especially algebra 2. And they brought her in the class, and I was pretty good in math. And, you know, the nuns talking about the theorem, whatever,
Yeah.
I can't remember what they were talking about, but the class, what we were going through, and just got done with it. Now she's got to go through it again in Spanish
Yeah.
for that person while we're like
Yeah,
all sitting there.
Everybody's
So
waiting. Yep.
guaranteed we didn't get as much in the course of the year. It slowed down everything.
Yeah, yep.
And not a knock on her, but
Yeah.
the fact's the fact. And I've said this for decades. Why don't you want to come to this country? You got to learn our language.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds terrible to some people, but like you just said, it is a win-win.
Yeah.
Because they would learn the language,
Yeah.
they would learn faster after learning the language,
Yeah.
and they would not slow down the rest of the kids. Because I was bored to death in the class.
Yeah, the American parents would be thrilled, and the immigrant parents would be thrilled that their children were going to be speaking English in a year. And when you mention the nuns, all of these reading programs that we have and everything, and this goes for the U.S. citizens' children too, where they can't read at grade level and all of that. I went to that same St. Mary's school,
Oh, you went to St. Mary's
Yes.
also, did you? Over on Pine Street.
Pine Street.
And George Street, yeah.
Sister Mary Michaela, Sister Mary Jane, Sister Mary Noel. We had 42 kids in our class.
Right, yeah,
42
exactly,
kids.
yes.
And there wasn't one kid at the end of the year that couldn't read.
Right.
Not one.
Not one, yep.
And some of the kids were really slow. And unfortunately, with kids being kids, we used to make fun of the kids that
Sure.
read really slow.
Right,
But everybody could read.
yep.
Now,
They got maximum 25 kids in the class.
yeah, and 3/4 of them can't read.
Yep.
You know, and all of that education stuff, when it comes to the children, non-English speaking students learning, they're learning how not to exceed, because they don't have to. Whatever it is, we give it to them.
Well,
You know-
that goes to you know what I call that? You know what I call that? The trophy for every kid.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Yeah, yeah. That started when my kids were really little.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen when I went to school.
No,
or
not
you
when
went to
I.
school.
No.
You got what you got because you banged your head against the wall to do it, to
Yep.
get it.
You
And
learn.
You
and
worked
when
hard.
I left Catholic school, I had it after 9 years. I went to a public school. When I was in the 10th grade at Pawtucket West, which is now Shea,
Yeah.
when I went to Pawtucket West in the 10th grade, what they had in the A division, the college division, was what I had in the 7th and 8th grade
Yeah.
in Catholic school.
Yeah, yeah.
They were so far ahead of the public school. It was crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And just stop and think back to those days when you were in high school, that kids that had problems, they got somehow taken care of.
Right.
And now with kids today, if they don't make it as a senior, and let me just say this aside about the Providence school system. From the 3rd grade to the 8th grade, the test scores go down like a steep hill.
Right.
From the 3rd grade to the 8th grade.
Sadly, yeah.
Now, how they got to the 8th grade from the 3rd grade, when
Right.
they couldn't read in the 3rd grade, God only knows what that's like. But then they went from the 8th grade to through high school,
Yep.
and only 30% can function at grade level. And Providence brags that they're increasing the graduation rate. Now, how can they brag?
Because they
that-
graduate everyone, that's why.
Yeah, yeah.
It isn't back in the day when I was in, don't you must remember some kids stayed back.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Now, no, oh, it's not cool to keep a kid back. My
Well,
God,
but-
it's
but
bad
that
for
was
their
a-
psyche.
That's one of the biggest things. When my kids went to school, went to high school, my oldest daughter, the kids that didn't make it, every kid in the school knew who didn't
Yes,
make it.
yes.
Everybody knew that this
Right.
person couldn't do it.
Yep.
Everybody knew they couldn't get a diploma. But the school system would say the child would be traumatized
Right.
by not being able to graduate with their peers.
But how traumatized would they be to graduate in high school and they can only read at a 2nd grade level?
Yeah. But the school system, to solve that problem, says, well, they have to march across the stage with their peers.
Right.
And get a
With a blank
diploma.
diploma, yeah.
Well, the only people that are traumatized in that whole situation are that kid's parents.
Right.
The parents go to that ceremony, that they would be totally embarrassed if they couldn't go to that graduation ceremony. Not so much the kid not being able to go.
Right.
Because the kid, more than likely, in a lot of those cases, unless they had a problem, doesn't really care about whether they get the diploma or
Right.
not.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
That's
yeah.
but the parents would be traumatized by that. But we're off the,
So you'd light a fire under them by making them, not graduate.
Yeah, yeah.
And that would encourage them to participate more in their kids' learning.
it would.
Right.
It would, because the parents would be nervous about not being able to see their kid go across the stage.
Right.
If they couldn't go across the
Right.
stage because they didn't perform.
Well, again, it goes back
know?
to my theory. It goes back to my theory of everybody getting a trophy.
Yeah,
I coached Little League Baseball for 21 years.
yeah,
One of the reasons I quit was because when they started that everybody gets a trophy baloney.
yeah.
Because you're not teaching a kid anything.
No.
You're not teaching, you teach them to be lazy, number
Yeah.
one. That's one of the things you're teaching them.
It's too bad.
You teach them not to participate, not to care. They don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah,
And it's the same thing with school.
yeah. Well, all these things we discussed, Bob, just to get back to my situation here with the illegal immigration, I just I implore people to pay attention. And, I mean, you could go almost any community in the state of Rhode Island and ask them if they knew about problems with illegal immigration. And they don't have a clue. They don't have a clue. If they don't see it with their own two eyes right there,
Right, right. It
where
doesn't
it's a
affect
problem for
them, right. Well, and the problems seem to be confined to certain areas.
Oh, yeah, Pawtucket, Central Falls, Providence,
Providence.
and Woonsocket.
Woonsocket.
And listen to this. I sent a thing to Washington about in Central Falls, they have a wellness center, and it's for undocumented women. Now, how do you do that? How do you have a center that's opened up? My heart goes out to these women that need that care, but they came here illegally. They're not supposed to be here, and we're bending over backwards to form all these organizations and all of that stuff for them. The mayor of Central Falls is doing a bang-up job. She's doing beyond what she thought she could do.
Right.
But I just disagree with her about catering to the illegal alien population. And when you talk about problems with illegal immigration, Central Falls is one of the epicenters of that. Dr. Fine, who at the time was the health director for Central Falls, he filled in after he left Rhode Island, the job in Rhode Island, but he was the health director in Central Falls. He wrote an article that said Central Falls was the most, had the most illegal aliens, he called them undocumented immigrants, of any community in the state of Rhode Island.
Right.
And it used to be a city of 3-family homes.
Yep.
Now, this is his words, those same 3-family homes are now home to 6 and 9 families.
Wow.
And if the population of Central Falls is going up by, a couple of thousand a year or whatever, who's coming in? Who's moving to Central Falls that you know? It's only the legal immigrants, and to me, the majority are illegal aliens that are moving there. And what's going to happen to them now? Because I follow, there's so many things that are affected by this. But in Central Falls, how many houses in Central Falls do you know that you would pay $795,000 for?
I wouldn't want to say. It wouldn't be many, let's put it that way.
There's a report in the paper every Saturday
Yep.
about all the home sales in the state of Rhode Island.
Yep.
Just look at Central Falls. It's incredible, the money that they're paying. Some of them are 3-family homes. But if somebody's paying $750,000...
Well, the house is probably taking in $7,000 a month.
Well, that's my point.
Right.
Where are these people going to get that money to pay?
Well, the state. The state.
There's-
If you're putting 6 families in a 3-family
Yep,
house,
you-
you're doubling the
you're
occupancy.
You're answering
So
my question.
That's
Yep.
6 families paying
Yep.
$1,500 a month or whatever
Yep.
it is, because the rents are going crazy.
And how, people that are working 40 hours a week in a regular job, say they're making $50,000 a year, they can barely afford to pay that much rent.
Right.
So if an illegal alien is here, how are they possibly coming up with the money
They're
to
not.
pay the
answer is they're
rent
not.
to live there?
No, it's called Section 8.
Well, there you go. And I mean, am I wrong to think that somebody came here illegally and we're giving them that benefit?
Well, what I find troubling is also Social Security. You got people coming in here that, if they're elderly with them, they're getting on Social Security.
Right,
And-
when they come in,
and
65, if you're over 65.
Exactly, and they're always talking about how Social Security is going bankrupt.
Yep.
Well, this isn't helping it.
No, I know. If you're over, you could, I could go on and on, but I know
Well, I'm
people,
giving you your chance.
I know people that have come to Rhode Island that as immigrants, they've sent for their elderly parents from the country that they came from. They're over 65 years old. They come here, the parents, mother and father, get Social Security.
Right.
The kids take the Social Security. The mother and father are like slaves to their own kids, and they're taking that money off them to live the good life in the state of Rhode Island. And I think it's a shame, and I know people that, former friends of mine, I would
Right.
say, former friends of mine, that have done that. And in 2 instances I know of, they just brought the mother, not the mother and the father. They brought the mother. The mother cleans the house, does the cooking, takes care of the kids, and the husband and wife live the good life.
Really?
Yeah, it's.
Well, that's sad to hear.
Yeah, there's so many abuses of that. It's not even funny. Everything's negative when it comes to all this stuff. I have to find. I look to my kids and my wife and for the good things that happen. You know,
Right.
And like something like this with you to get these things off my chest.
I figure you deserved another time here.
Make me feel a little better. You know that it's not a total loss.
Well, my nephew lives in Austin, Texas now. He's from here, of course. He's from.
Yeah.
He's from. He grew up in Central Falls.
Yeah.
Went to Central Falls High School.
Yeah, my grandmother and grandfather lived in Central Falls.
Yeah.
You know, brought up 7 kids in
Predominantly
Central Falls.
French when I was a kid.
Yeah, well, it was Irish and French.
Right,
and
of course.
The house. My grandfather owned a 3-family house in Central Falls. Had one of the first cars of anybody ever had in Central Falls. The house next door to him, his house was all Irish, 3-family, all
Right.
Irish. The house next door was 3-family, all French.
Full French. I grew up in Woodlawn in Pawtucket.
Yeah.
And when I grew up there, and by the way, I still live there.
Yeah.
When I grew up there, it was all French and Irish.
Yeah, yeah.
St.
Yeah.
Jean's, St. Jean's.
Yeah, oh yeah,
the
St.
parish.
Jean's Church, yep. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. It's St. Mary's was mostly Irish.
Yeah,
The
that's
people
why
that
I was
lived
we
yeah,
went to St. Mary's.
and lived in St. Mary's, and then we moved from St. Mary's. We moved to Darlington, and I went to
St. Teresa's?
I went to St. Ray's. I was in the
Oh, yeah.
We moved. I was in the 8th grade
Yep.
when we moved, and I started the 9th grade at St. Ray's.
Well, wait a minute. Did they have a 9th grade then in St. Ray's back then?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
They did?
Oh, yeah. That was the first freshman class in a long time. It was the last one.
Yeah.
For a long time, too. Things were we were terrible. When I showed up there, believe this or not, I had blue suede shoes, peg pants,
We're talking Elvis Presley
Yep.
times. Yep.
and a big DA.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what that-
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
A DA's when they put the hair back and it comes to
and it came with a
yep, a crease in the back.
piece in the middle, a pot in the middle of it,
Yep.
in the back. And I showed up.
You know what they
there.
call that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
A duck's
Yep.
behind.
And I lasted about a week like that.
Oh, yeah?
I got picked up.
Oh, the school? Oh,
Yeah.
oh God,
I
yeah.
got picked up by the hair.
By the brothers.
By the brother.
One of the brothers.
Picked up out of the seat
Yep,
by the hair.
yep.
And was told, was told how to dress appropriately. And you know, my father hadn't been told he had to dress appropriately, but my father just thought that's the way I dressed. You know,
Sure.
How did he know it wasn't appropriate? And but we found out in short order.
Well, I went through that in junior high school
Yeah,
in St. Mary's.
yeah,
Because I had a curly, wavy hair, and I always had, it was kind of long.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't long, but
Yeah.
I didn't think it was long. It was shorter than yours is
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
But my God, they put me through heck
yeah.
in
yeah,
school
Yeah.
with the hair.
I think back to those days, and you know that statistic I told you about the 42 kids in the class, and not one kid couldn't read.
Right.
I brought that up with Arlene Violet a long time ago.
Sure.
And, you know,
Who
and
was a
and
nun, by the way.
Yeah, who was and she knew what it was. I did a talk. I've done so many crazy things. I volunteered doing for Aging 2000, doing talks about Medicare fraud. And I did a thing for the retired nuns down at Bayview.
Oh, wow.
And it was absolutely fabulous. And towards the end, I was getting ready to shut everything
My knuckles
off.
still hurt me when I think of nuns.
Yeah, well, yeah. But one nun, they were all really old. And this nun said, "You know, young man, I had you in the 4th grade."
Oh, wow, she remembered you.
Yeah, from the fourth grade, yeah.
Wow.
And when I went there, I had a laser pointer. So I started off, right away in the beginning with the laser pointer, and I'm going here and there, and the poor nuns are going like this.
Like a cat. They're
yeah,
following like
yeah.
a cat.
I said, this is modern technology.
Right. Back in then, they had the other pointers,
Yeah.
the ones
I
they
said,
whacked
this is
you with.
modern technology. I said, but this is the technology that you'll understand. And I pulled out a yardstick.
Yep.
And I started pointing with the yardstick. They all laughed like hell, because it was that you get that thing on the back of your knuckles.
Oh,
and
they
weren't
whacked
paying
you.
attention.
I got whacked all the time
Yeah.
with those
At St.
things.
Ray's, we had a brother from Canada, Brother Donald, and he had a ruler. It's a square ruler. It's about a half-inch square,
Wow.
maybe a little bit, maybe 3/4 of an inch
Yep.
square. But it was a yardstick.
Oh, I can picture that.
And he'd come around, and if he told you had to be writing, if you weren't writing, if your hand was there, it was like, and the back of your hand, instantly a giant welt,
welt.
on the back,
Yep.
on the back of your hand.
Yep, yep.
And but he did that all the time, and this is a good story. He told us all about playing hockey in Canada and all that stuff, and
Which everybody did in
Yep.
Canada.
and he turned out to be this wonderful guy. And at Christmas time, we invited him to go to Slater Park to go skating.
Yep.
And he said, well, I don't have any skates anymore, so we'll get you some skates so you can skate. So he said, okay. And he came to Slater Park with us, and we had a set of brand new CCM hockey skates, and we gave them to him.
Wow, he must have been thrilled.
He cried like a baby.
Really?
Cried
Yeah.
like a baby.
Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty nice. That one of the nice things that we did for some of the brothers. But
Well, I wouldn't go to a Catholic school when I high school. I said, I've had enough.
Yeah.
I said, it was bad enough dealing with the nuns. I don't want to
Yeah.
deal with the brothers beating me.
Yeah, I dealt with the nuns. I have stories about that.
How about, obviously you went a left-hander. Because if you were left-handed,
No.
you know what they did to you in the nuns?
The devil.
Oh, my God, yeah, if you were left-handed,
left-handed,
they'd
yeah.
whack you, or they'd
Yeah.
tie your hand behind, your
Yeah.
left hand behind
Yeah.
your back.
Yeah.
They tie your left hand behind your back, and
Yeah.
they'd make you right-handed, because
Yeah.
you couldn't write like this, or because you were sitting at those tables,
Yeah.
those desks,
Yeah. Yep.
right,
That-
with the
we
only
had-
the arm.
Sister Mary Michaela one time, when I think I was in the 5th grade or 6th grade, and just guy Joe Finelli, he ended up going to St. Ray's with me and everything. He wouldn't shut up, and she was telling everybody to be quiet.
Yep.
And of course Finelli wouldn't shut up, and here comes Sister Mary Michaela. And Finelli turns around to me, and he said, I told you to be quiet.
No way.
She walked right by Finelli.
And nailed you.
She said, I told you to be quiet. Boom!
She punched you?
me right in the side of the head.
Yeah.
Right there. I hit my head on the wall.
Yep.
Because we were all standing in line.
Yep.
I hit my head on the wall. She punched me right in the side of the head. I wanted to kill Finelli. Oh boy, you oh.
And how you remember all those nuns' names? I had Sister Mary Alexander, and I had Sister Mary Irenaeus, and I had one nun, I won't mention her name, and I do remember her name. She used it because I talked a lot.
Yeah.
And by the way, as you recall, everything was a line. You went to go to
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah.
bathroom, you
Going
went in a
down,
line. You
out
went to the
recess.
cafeteria, you went to a
Yep.
line. You went to recess,
Yep.
you went in a line. And I don't know, it seemed like it happened every day, or nearly every day. I'd be in line, and this one nun would come by, and she'd whack me right across the face. And I go, what'd you do that for? She goes, because you're smiling. You must be thinking bad thoughts.
Oh jeez. Yeah. Yeah. The principal was Sister Mary Rosalita when I was there.
Yep.
She was about 4 foot tall. if you get sent down to her office,
Those were the worst ones.
You-
The little ones were the
yeah,
worst ones.
you were in big trouble. I remember I was always in trouble in school, but we're out at recess one day, and remember Merv Griffin?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And he used to sing, and sometimes he would use an Irish accent, and he'd sing "Lovely Bunch of Coconuts." Well, that fascinated me for some reason. I'm out at recess, and I'm singing away, "Oh, I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts." And I hear, "Mr. Gorman." And I turn around, and it's Sister Mary Ignatius Loyola, the music teacher. Said, "Come up here." I had to go to the convent after school. It's like a dungeon in there.
Right.
It's like I don't know how they sat in those rooms and called it a living room. And
It was pretty dark in there, though, too,
it
wasn't
was
it?
wicked. It was wicked dark. Yeah. And all these nuns.
You had to sing for them.
And I had to sing, "I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts" for the nuns. And she played the piano.
Oh, really?
Oh, my God. But those are things that, those are stories that I have a million of them. I could tell everybody about those things. And, I had a really good childhood, even though I was a problem child for a lot of it,
Well, how many in your family growing up?
Just myself and my sister.
How about having 8 brothers and sisters?
Oh, yeah, imagine, holy
And no
mackerel.
father.
Yeah, wow.
My father died when the oldest was 13. I was
Yeah.
7.
Yeah, wow.
So my mother had to deal with all of us.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
5 boys and 3 girls.
yeah, wow. But she did it, though. Imagine,
Yeah.
that's,
And no welfare, by the
Yep.
way. No
Correct.
welfare. Because we owned the house. And
Yep.
they told her, in order to get welfare, they have to sell the house and move to Prospect Heights,
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
one of those places.
Yeah,
Crook
it's,
Manor, or one
yeah.
of those places.
But anyway, again, I implore people to pay attention to the illegal immigration situation, and I don't really think there's anything going to be done about it. But maybe if people start paying attention, it won't get as bad as we think it can get.
Right, right.
Because
Well, when it hits them in the pocketbook, that's when it
Yeah.
really hits them in the
Yeah.
pocketbook.
Yeah, either
That's
that-
when they're going to know it.
Either that, or something bad happens to a politician's child,
Right.
or something.
Right.
Then
Then sad,
all-
unfortunately, yeah, that's what it would
unfortunately,
take. Yes.
Unfortunately,
Yes.
that's when something would happen, when people
Right.
would just, all the politicians would be on board. Somebody in the news media had something bad happen as a result of some illegal immigrants or whatever.
Yep.
Then something would get done about it, and it's a shame, but
Well, I'm
What are you
glad
gonna
you
do?
made it by again.
yeah, okay. I enjoyed this, and thank you for having me.
Yep.
And thank you for, as I said, letting me get some things off my chest.
There you go. There you go.
And
Terry
talk-
Gorman,
talk-
folks.
Talk about some fun stories.
Well, nice
So,
seeing
all
you
right.
again.
Okay, you too, Bob. All right.
You
thank
just spent
very
a whole
much.
hour with Bob. How's that one?
Wow.
And thank you, folks, for spending an hour with Bob. Until next time.